How naive are those who think that the Holocaust belongs to the past, that in our current reality there can be no genocide, that there can be no calls for destruction, nor will hatred arise that threatens the existence of a people. The Iranian threat has been growing before our eyes, before the eyes of the world, almost without opposition. We have repeatedly warned about the nuclear danger as an existential threat. We have repeatedly warned about the number of ballistic missiles that threaten the citizens of Israel throughout the country, and about the danger that the Iranian regime poses to us. And finally, we took our destiny into our own hands and went to war twice out of necessity. In the roar of the Lion War, the Israel Defense Forces, with the support of Mossad, led an unprecedented attack that dealt a heavy blow to the Iranian regime. Against those who made the destruction of our people their motto, against those who hung a huge clock counting down to our end. By our side, in a solid alliance and in historic cooperation with the world's strongest power, we fought together for the values of justice and freedom. 40 days of intense fighting have brought extremely significant achievements, especially by thwarting the enemy's central objective, the destruction of the State of Israel. Mossad acted once again in the heart of Tehran. We provided accurate intelligence to the Air Force and struck missiles that threatened the citizens of Israel. But our mission is not over yet. We didn't think this mission would be completed immediately after the fighting ended, but we planned a lot. We expect our campaign to continue firmly and to be clearly manifested in the period following the attacks that occurred in Tehran. Our commitment will only be fulfilled when this extremist regime is replaced. This same regime that wants our destruction must disappear from the world. This is our mission. We will not continue to passively watch yet another existential threat. Driven by a clear imperative, never again.
The message from Jerusalem was blunt. On Tuesday, April 14, 2026, the head of Mossad, David Barnea, made it clear that the offensive against Iran did not end with the bombings and that the ultimate goal remains the fall of the Iranian regime. The statement was direct, in a tone of warning, and shows that Israel does not treat the campaign as an isolated episode, but as a phased operation with political, military, and intelligence continuity even after the attacks in Tehran. What happened in practice was a public confirmation of the strategic course. Barnea stated that the mission would not be completed at the exact moment the fighting subsided. According to him, the structure of the campaign had already been designed to continue after the attacks, and Mossad's commitment only ends when the regime he called radical and extremist is replaced. The person behind this message is the main intelligence chief, the head of Israeli foreign intelligence, speaking at a highly sensitive moment and on a symbolic stage, a Holocaust Remembrance Day ceremony. Why does that matter? It matters because the statement wasn't made in a closed technical debate, but in front of the public with historical and political weight. By linking the Iranian threat to the existential risk against Israel, Barnea sought to show that for the Israeli state, the problem is not just military. It is a long-term threat that requires continuous action, not just an emergency response. How was this strategy described? With a combination of intelligence operations inside Iranian territory and direct support for Air Force attacks. Barnea said that Mossad operated in the heart of Tehran and provided precise intelligence to target missiles that threatened Israeli civilians. This point is central because it shows that the plan, from the Israeli perspective, does not depend only on large, visible bombings. It also involves infiltration, information gathering, constant pressure, and operational continuity even after the most explosive phase of the clashes. When this statement is made, it carries even more weight. It came just a few days after the ceasefire announcement and right after the tense talks between Iran and the United States in Islamabad, which ended without a final agreement, although the dialogue remains open. The head of Mossad signals that Israel continues to look beyond the ceasefire and beyond the current talks. Why does this matter so much? Because this statement dismantles any interpretation that Israel is satisfied with just limited damage to Iran's military structure. The message is different. The strategic target remains in place. In Barnea's view, it's not enough to reduce Iran's attack capability for just a few days or weeks. The goal is to prevent the threat from growing again, and for him, that only happens with a regime change. That's why the statement has such an impact. It turns the campaign against Iran into an open-ended contest, with no promise of a quick conclusion. That statement also helps to understand the mood inside Israel. Reports published this Tuesday show that the war has gone on for more than 6 weeks without delivering a decisive outcome despite the firepower used. Iran remains intact as a power structure and continues to challenge its adversaries on key issues such as the Strait of Hormuz and its strategic program. In this scenario, Barnea's statement serves as a harsh warning. The fact that the regime hasn't fallen yet doesn't mean the plan has failed, but rather that the operation was designed to last longer and produce results in stages. At its core, the Mossad's message is simple and weighty. And why? Because the Iranian regime remains the source of the threat, and that's why it continues to be in the crosshairs. The ceasefire may have reduced the noise of the explosions, but the strategy now revealed shows that the pressure is far from over.